There's what's known as a public duty, and I had sent some emails about coercion, New York law. Yeah. And I'm thinking Washington State. In fact, a lot of states have similar laws that when you don't do your public duty, I can sue you. Now, I told you that I wanted my sons, and I said we were still married and I wanted a divorce. But when you do not execute the order of dissolution because you just couldn't bring yourself to do it, I'm still married. Oh, now, not even thinking about the United Nations marriage certificate or all the fraudulent child support that you say that I owe, or holding my sons hostage for over 7 years, and child abduction laws and international baby snatching and all these other things. There is what is known as the actual service of the order. Coach. Now I'll give you an example. Jack, Exhibit B. Any attempt of service from June 1st to June 15th? No. From June 12th to July 31st of 2015. Two attempts of service, yes. Not served, not served. But then you decided to involve some person that doesn't have any right to know anything about my personal life or the lives of my spouse or my kids. Yes. Now, I would say that's a real serious crime because you can't just arbitrarily decide somebody's going to teach me a lesson. Because they're in the family. Now, it could be a pretty good sized lawsuit as I approach it at the time that I decide to. Well, you use your influence in a coercive way to deprive me of the protections of the law. Yes, the protections of the law of my sons, ooch, and the protections of the law of my spouse, because she didn't acknowledge the order. Now, this thought of there being a service of the order of the dissolution, yes, yes, yes. Under the threat of child support, yes. Child abduction, yes. Violating the protection order, child abuse, yes. That could be a pretty good sized one considering the spouse decided to never serve me, and I had informed you for the last 2.5 years. $1 billion lawsuits, maybe in the hundreds of millions, depending on exactly how I do it. Ouch, ouch, ouch. See, you used a third party before. You Well, you used a third party for the execution of the order of the protection. Yes. And then you served somebody else other than myself. Yes. That I think was not a party of the actual court order itself. And then you didn't use anybody to serve me when you issued the dissolution of marriage. Yeah, it could be in the hundreds of millions. Now, I want you to tell me where my sons are at. Because it's a wrongful execution of a dissolution of marriage to not execute the actual order on the party name. Now, I know this whole concept of coercion. Yes. Capone was using it back in the day. Yeah. How many sheriffs, how many police officers, how many of those in the senior family said we do not have to do what the law says. Now there's the code of conduct. Written set of rules governing the behavior of specified groups such as lawyers, government employees, and corporate employees. The code of ethics. The code of federal regulations. Yes. Code of judicial conduct. There's a lot of different code of professional responsibility. Yes, yes, yes. I think I could sue you for violating the code of judicial conduct for each and every one of those that are judges, commissioners, and justices. I could sue you for violating the code of ethics of those in police departments and sheriff's departments. I could sue you for every government employee that thought they weren't mandatory reporters for your actual code of conduct. Yeah. How many of those that are sworn oaths, state legislature of the state of Washington, every state, realize that as a specified group of government employees, Your code of conduct requires you to do what you are bound to do as sworn and subscribed oaths of office. Now, for the governor of the state of Washington, for every person in his cabinet, for every elected individual in the state of Washington's legislature, for all of those in each and every state government of the United States. Yes, I just wanted you to know that your conduct is such that as the individual that happens to be the victim of coercion, yes. Now, there's this criminal coercion, threatening to expose a secret, yes, that either would subject the victim to hatred, contempt, or ridicule, or impair the victim's credit or goodwill. Somehow I think you have impaired my credit and my goodwill. Yes, you have. I've been the target of a lot of hate crimes. Yes, a lot of pain. A lot of pain. Contempt, you've laughed your asses off. A lot of ridicule at me being a mentally ill sheriff. Tremendous amount of ridicule, isn't it? I'm the stupid fucking dick that decided to be homeless because you assholes wouldn't enforce the law. Now, when you think of mentally ill, mentally defective, coach, I don't have any jurisdiction to motion the court because you didn't execute the actual service of the order of the dissolution. Yes, I have no jurisdiction to motion the court because the petitioner didn't sign it, folks. There's forgery and fraud on the court. Yes. And then there was no actual identifying if I was there or I wasn't there. So how would I know if I have any jurisdiction? So your ridicule, you're upset that I mentioned you in a Facebook post. You're paying for those. Oh, it could be in the hundreds of billions. It really could. Hundreds of millions. Yeah, hundreds of millions. Oh. Now, an act that must be voluntary, such as signing a will, signing a court order, yes, is not legally valid if done under coercion. Valid marriage requires voluntary consent. Coercion of duress is grounds for invalidating a marriage. Moral coercion. Now, there's always a big question. There could be a lawsuit that I don't know about. There's the perjury trap doctrine. Oh, the perjury. The act or an instance of a person deliberately make false or misleading statements while under oath. Now, let's say I asked you exactly who was it that served me in the Squim Public Library, and you say, well, we don't know who he is. Well, how do you get a copy of the court order? That would be perjury, willful utterance of an untrue testimony under oath or affirmation before a competent tribunal on a point of material. A perjurer. To perjure, to make oneself culpable of deliberately making material false or misleading statements while under oath. Yes. In a passive sense, to become involved in or prove to be guilty of perjury. The fraud and perjury of the fraud statute.